But do you remember at school taking your cycling proficiency test? You had to take your bike into school for the day, weave around a course, learn how to manage the roads. Really important lifelong skills were taught to primary age children. Well, these days it's run by the Bikeability Trust and it helps children in a similar way. Well, my son Michael, he's just finished year 6 and so he's recently done the Bikeability course with his friends and he loves cycling. So whilst out on his beloved bike yesterday evening, I asked him about Bikeability.
I am Michael and I'm 11 years old.
You did your Bikeability course not that long ago. What do you remember from it?
I just remember that they taught me a lot and they were also really fun.
What do you remember learning? What stands out?
How, going around a roundabout and making right turns and stuff.
Go on then, tell me, how do you make a right turn when you're on your bike?
You look in front of you, behind you, you put your arm out and then you kind of check again and you turn right.
You also learnt to go around parked cars, didn't you? How do you do that?
Well, you look if there's a car coming the other way and you go really far around the car because the car might open its door and smack you in the face.
And you mentioned the instructors that you had were quite fun and you were with a group of your school friends as well for the whole day. Did you do any games with them? What was it that was fun? Do you remember?
Well, I just really kind and kept on making jokes. Yeah, and they weren't strict at all, but they made sure we were safe and stuff.
So do you feel a bit more confident now riding your bike on the road?
Yeah, definitely.
Out of 10, how much do you love riding your bike?
11.
He really does love it as well. He learnt to ride a bike with pedals from just 3 years old with no stabiliser. And the stuff that he does, sometimes I just have to not look. We love going down Pedal-a-Bike Way in the Forest of Dean and he goes down some of the jumps there as well and just absolutely loves it. Now, Michael is just one of 500,000 children in the southwest who have done the Bikeability programme in the past year. And listening to that is the Chief Executive of the Bikeability Trust. It's Emily Cherry. Good afternoon, Emily.
Hello, good afternoon, Kate. By the way, could we please employ Michael? He's going to be a brilliant instructor in the future and what the best advertisement for how brilliant Bikeability is ever. Thank you, Michael.
Yeah, do you know what? He's quite patient with when he's teaching people stuff as well. I think he'd really enjoy that. Tell us a little bit more about Bikeability, because I've been talking to our listeners about the old cycling proficiency test, because many of us remember that at primary school. Is it a similar sort of thing?
It is. So pretty much cycling proficiency was sort of largely gone from sort of the early 90s. So if you went to school in those periods, you were lucky to get it. We brought back Bikeability in 2017, and you wouldn't expect me to say this, but it is better than cycling proficiency. So the main difference is back in the day, you never went out on the roads. So you learnt about traffic conditions, but on a playground. What we now do, and what Michael has just done, is his level 2 programme, which is that's where we literally go out on real roads, looking at real risk, real traffic situations and helping children to manage those independently and effectively.
Yeah, and I've got to admit, as a parent, knowing that he's just got some of those skills now actually makes me feel so much better, so much more secure, and knowing that he's a little bit safer, because the roads, they feel like they're more dangerous now. There are more cars on the roads, increasing speeds. Are you finding that there is more anxiety from parents about allowing their children out?
Absolutely, we do find that that's one of the number one barriers for parents putting children onto Bikeability. But the thing that we always say to parents is that's exactly what we're here for. So yes, there are more cars on the road. Yes, we understand there's a bit more hostility on the roads as well. But we can teach your children how to manage those situations. And every child who comes to Bikeability, just like you heard Michael said, is more confident, but they're also safer because they know how to perceive those hazards, avoid them, and we're giving them those strategies and our top tips to kind of help them manage it. So it really does transform your child's cycling ability on the roads.
Well, what sort of things do they do? I mean, I know he was out there the whole day, the whole of the school day, so like 9:30 till 3 or something like that. And they were in a park for a little while, and then they did go onto the roads. But I've actually got no idea what he did.
Yeah, well, actually, this is where we're going to have a brand new, so we've got a brand new website coming with lots of different videos for parents so you can see exactly what we teach. But the thing that I always talk about is our 4 key skills, and this is what Michael will have learnt. So 4 key skills are observation, communication, positioning, and priorities. And we can go through all 4, but if we just to give you a top one, so there's a tendency when it comes to positioning that people think, oh, I'm going to hug the curb. But like you've heard Michael say, park car, you need to get out. What we talk about is going into the middle of the lane in a confident position so that traffic can see you. And of course, changes to the highway code means that cars need to give a metre and a half to go around when they're overtaking a cyclist. So there's those types of top tips that our bikeability instruction really gives children and parents.
In here in Gloucestershire, we've got lots of rural roads, lots of small, twisty roads as well. And I think even as an adult, I have some anxiety about going onto the roads because these are skills I suppose I was never taught for a start, but also because you think these cars can get very close to you. Is bikeability just for children, or do you have any courses for adults?
No, so if you head to the bikeability.org.uk website, you can actually find a course as an adult as well. And we also offer family courses, so you can also go out as a whole family together. And that can be a bespoke course that's literally designed around where do you want to ride as a family. So if you're looking for some tips on rural roads, our instructors can do that with you. If you're looking to practice their school run independently, we can do that with you. So head on to the Bikeability website and you'll be able to find all of the local teams locally, their contact details to help provide you some bikeability.
Now, when we were invited onto the course, it came through the school, to be honest. We were just, the school said, this is what we're doing. If you want your child to do it, just sign up. Do all schools take you up on this offer? Are there any barriers why people wouldn't want to do this course?
Yeah, so we've got funding to seek to do every child. So by the end of primary school, we're looking for every child in year 6 to get those on-the-road skills, and we're funding that through schools. We do have a number of barriers. One of them is we do have some resistant schools who don't allow us in because it's not on the curriculum. So this is something we're pushing the new government to put bikeability on the curriculum so that no child doesn't get that. We also know that parents' attitudes, as you've mentioned earlier, to putting their children out onto the roads is a barrier. And we also know, really sadly, that about 1 in 4 children aged 5 to 10 don't have access to a cycle themselves. So a lot of our training providers actually have access to loan cycles to give children those skills. But that just gives you an example of some of the barriers that we're addressing. I
am absolutely appalled that you said that some primary schools turn you down because there basically isn't time, is there, in the day for them because it's not on the curriculum.
Yeah, and the difference here with swimming. So swimming is seen as a life skill. By the end of primary school, there is a statutory target. So is cycling on the road. So, we really are calling on the new government to put it on the curriculum so that if a head teacher doesn't think they've got the time, actually, let's make the time to give this vital skill. And we also know from lots of Ofsted inspections just how much Ofsted have valued bikeability being in there to give that life skill to children.
Yeah, and especially nowadays when we're always talking about sustainability and how to get off the road in a smelly car and to actually walk places or cycle places, you would have hoped that cycling is going to just, it's for a start, we would like to hope there'll be more cycle lanes around our cities and towns and that it's something more people will want to do.
Yeah, absolutely. And, of course, we want a safe cycling route to every school, so safer school streets and places for children to cycle. That's brilliant when that infrastructure comes. But what's great about bikeability is that it will teach you to cycle everywhere that cycling is permitted, so to give you those skills. But it's a really, really great course. We also have summer holiday courses as well that run. So, if you're just someone who's just not confident about cycling, it is never too late to learn, and you will definitely pick up skills through bikeability.
Oh, and it is a wonderful freedom you feel as well, isn't it, when you're able to cycle? What about you and your cycling then? What is it, one of your passions?
Oh, it definitely is. So I've got 2 teenage children. My son, very much out there cycling everywhere he goes to see his mates. Daughter, not so much. But yeah, I'm a keen cyclist, so I'll quite often cycle where I go. I did London to Brighton as a fundraising challenge a few months ago, which is an absolutely amazing cycle. So yeah, just an amazing place to get out, enjoy the fresh air, help for climate change, and it's fantastic for mental health and physical well-being as well.
And sadly, there does seem to be a bit of a clash sometimes between drivers and cyclists. So talking now to our drivers who are listening, what what advice would you give them when passing a cyclist? What should we bear in mind?
So there is some changes that have been made to the highway code about 18 months ago, so it is about passing cyclists safely. So we've seen a lot of drivers get aggressive when they see cyclists in the centre of the lane. Actually, it's there to protect them. There's a new hierarchy of road users, and if you are the person with the most responsibility to harm, so you're in a metal car or you're a van or a lorry driver, you've got the greatest potential and responsibility to protect the cyclist. So cyclists in the centre of the lane, slow down, give them space and wait until it's safe to pass, and you need to give at least 1.5 metres around a cyclist.
Good to talk to you. Thank you ever so much, Emily. Have a good day.
Thank you, and congratulations, Michael. What a great cycling ambassador.
Thanks ever so much. If you want more information, have a look online. It's bikeabilitytrust.org. That was Emily Cherry, who is the Chief Executive of the Bikeability Trust.